boy with a black eye begged, "Be my dad." The mafia boss sent 32 men to protect his mom. The smell of stale coffee and burnt toast clings to my clothes. A perfume I can't wash out. It's in my hair, under my fingernails, in the tired lines around my eyes. Rosie's Diner is a symphony of clattering plates, sizzling grease, and the low, complaining hum of the ancient ventilation system. I've worked here for 2 years, ever since I ran to Hollis Point with $8 in my pocket and a screaming toddler on my hip. Now, Leo is 8 years old, and I'm still running. "Order up, Carmen," Rosie barks, her voice like gravel in a tin can. I nod, plastering on the smile that pays the bills. "On it, Rosie!" I grab the plates, 2 eggs over easy, hash browns, and a side of wheat toast, extra butter, table 5. Mr. Henderson, he's a regular, a quiet man who reads the paper and leaves a $5 tip for a $3 coffee. He's the bright spot in my morning. My feet throb. I've been on them for 9 hours, and I have 3 more to go. This double shift will cover the electric bill, and maybe, just maybe, I can finally buy Leo the new sneakers he needs. His current ones have holes in the soles, and I see the way he pulls his feet under his desk at school so the other kids won't notice. I navigate the narrow aisle between booths, my body moving with an automatic, weary grace. I am a professional at being invisible. It's a skill I learned the hard way, in Hollis Point. You don't make waves. You don't make eye contact with the men who linger on street corners. And you don't draw attention. You pay in cash. You keep your head down, and you never, ever talk to the police. A squad car cruises past the diner's big plate glass window, its red and blue lights silent but still flashing, painting the worn linoleum in brief. Terrifying strokes of color. My breath catches. The coffee pot in my hand trembles, just once. My stomach twists into a cold, familiar knot. I hate that I still have this reaction. Damon Keller has been out of my life for 6 years, but the shadow he cast is long. He was a cop, a man who wore a badge and promised to protect and serve, but he only ever protected himself and served his own violent rage. He taught me that uniforms aren't a sign of safety. They're a warning. They mean the monster has the law on his side. So I stay in the shadows. I work at Rosie's, a place so run down and insignificant it's off everyone's map. I live in a second-floor apartment on the bad side of town, a place where the sirens are a lullaby and no one cares about the neighbors. It's the perfect place to disappear. All I have in this world is Leo, and he's my anchor, my reason for breathing this greasy air and smiling at men who look at me like I'm on the menu. Everything I do to keep him safe. The bell over the diner door jingles, and I turn, the smile already locked in place. It's just another customer. I let the breath out slowly and get back to work. The walk home is always the worst part. The sun bleeds out of the sky, leaving a bruised purple-gray stain. The streetlights in our neighborhood flicker, most of them broken. I clutch my purse. The $27 in tips a small, heavy lump in my pocket. I walk fast, my keys woven between my fingers, a trick my mother taught me. Not that it would do much good against a real threat, but it's a small, sharp comfort. Our building smells like boiled cabbage and damp. The lock on my apartment door, 2B, is broken. It has been since we moved in. I have to jiggle the key, push my shoulder against the wood, and turn the knob at just the right angle. It's a ritual. Jiggle, push, turn. "Leo," I call out, dropping my keys in the chipped ceramic bowl by the door. "I'm home, mijo." The apartment is quiet, too quiet. My heart, which has been beating a slow, tired rhythm, suddenly kicks into a frantic gallop. "Leo?" I drop my purse and move past the tiny kitchenette, into the living room that doubles as his bedroom. The futon is folded up. His backpack is on the floor, but he's not there. "Leo, this isn't funny." I check the bathroom. Empty. The small closet. Empty. My own room, which is barely big enough for a mattress on the floor. Empty. A cold, metallic taste floods my mouth. Panic. It's a paralyzing, sickening venom. He's always here. He knows the rule. He knows he is not to leave this apartment. Ever. I run back to the living room, and that's when I see him. He's not gone. He's in the corner, between the futon and the wall, in the small space he's claimed as his own. He's sitting on the floor, his knees drawn up to his chest, his face turned away from me. The relief is so profound it makes me dizzy. I lean against the wall, my hand over my chest. Leo, you scared me to death. I called your name. Why didn't you answer me? He doesn't move. He just stays small. Leo, look at me. My voice is sharper than I intend, rough with the leftover panic. He turns his head slowly, and the scream I was holding back chokes in my throat. His left eye is swollen, a grotesque, ugly balloon of purple and black. The skin on his cheek is raw, scraped open, and his palms, which he uncurls from tight fists, are bloody. I am across the room in 2 strides, falling to my knees in front of him. The world narrows to that bruise. It's not just a bruise, it's a failure. My failure. I promised I would keep him safe. Oh, God. My voice is a whisper. I reach out a hand, my fingers trembling, but I stop, afraid to touch him, afraid he'll shatter. Mijo, who did this to you? Who did this? He flinches when I get close. He flinches, my son, flinching from me. It's nothing, he mumbles, his voice thick. He won't look at me. He stares at the floor. That is not nothing, Leo. I'm trying to keep my voice calm, but I can feel the rage building, the hot, acid bile of it rising in my chest. It's the same rage I used to feel when Damon. I shut that thought down. I will not be that woman. Who was it? I ask again, my voice low and steady, a steel I rarely use. Was it kids from school? Tell me their names. Just boys, he whispers. What boys? Leo, give me a name. I don't know. You do know. I grab his shoulders. It's too hard. He winces, and I immediately let go, my hands flying back as if I've been burned. Oh, Leo, I'm sorry, baby. I need you to tell me. He shakes his head, his lower lip trembling, and then he shuts down. It's like a light switching off. His face goes blank. His eyes go dull. And I know I've lost him. He has retreated to that quiet, safe place inside himself, a place I can't reach. It's a place I taught him to build. It happened near school, he says, his voice flat. I fell. You did not fall. The lie is so much worse than the silence. I stand up, my entire body shaking. You did not fall. I go to the bathroom. I get the first aid kit, my hands moving on autopilot. I clean his scrapes with antiseptic. He hisses but doesn't pull away. I hold a bag of frozen peas to his eye. He sits there, a small, silent statue of my own worst fears. I'm going to the school tomorrow, I say, the words tasting like ash. He doesn't answer. The next morning, I'm at Hollis Point Elementary at 8:30 sharp, having already begged Rosie to let me come in late. The principal's office is beige. Everything is beige, from the walls to the coffee-stained carpet. Principal Miller gives me a tired, bureaucratic smile. He's a man who has seen too much and decided to do too little. I explain what happened. I show him the picture I took of Leo's eye. Mrs. Diaz, he says, steepling his fingers. Boys will be boys. They play rough. Leo is a quiet child. He doesn't socialize well. Perhaps he instigated something and isn't telling you the whole story. Instigated? Did you see that picture? My son was assaulted? Wait, those are very strong words. We have a zero-tolerance policy for bullying, of course, but without a name, without a witness, there's not much I can do. So you're doing nothing. It's not a question. I'm saying I will look into it. The air quotes are audible. He's dismissing me, a poor, single mother from the bad side of town. I am invisible. I walk out of that school, and the rage is so cold it feels like ice in my veins. The system is broken. The one time I try to use it, the one time I step out of the shadows and ask for help, the door is slammed in my face. I get to the diner, and Rosie is in a mood. I work for 12 hours straight. My feet are bleeding inside my shoes, but I don't care. All I can think about is Leo's face. When I get home that night, he's asleep on the futon. I watch him for a long time. His breathing is shallow. He's so small in that big, empty room. I am failing him. The next day, I have the morning shift. I wake him. I make him oatmeal, and I kiss the unbruised side of his forehead. "You'll be okay at school?" I ask, smoothing his hair. He nods, his eye on the cartoon playing on our tiny, flickering television. "Leo, look at me. If anyone bothers you, you walk away, you run. You come straight home, you understand?" "Yes, Mom." I leave. I go to work. I pour coffee. I take orders. I smile. But under the smile, a plan is forming. I'm going to follow him home from school. I'm going to see for myself who these boys are. I don't care if I lose my job. At 2:55, I tear off my apron. "Rosie, family emergency. I have to go." I don't wait for an answer. I run the 10 blocks to the school. The final bell is ringing. Kids pour out, a noisy, happy river. I scan the faces. No Leo. I wait. 5 minutes, 10, the crowd thins. Still no Leo. My heart starts that familiar, frantic pounding. He was absent today, Mrs. Diaz. I spin around. It's his teacher, Mrs. Gable. "What? No, I dropped him off this morning." "He never checked into homeroom," she says, her face a mask of mild concern. I don't remember running. All I know is that 1 minute I'm at the school, and the next I'm slamming into my apartment door. Jiggle, push, turn. "Leo, Leo!" The apartment is empty. His backpack is gone. He's gone. This isn't panic. This is a new, hollow cord terror. My son, with his bruised face, is missing. I run into the street. "Leo!" I scream his name. People look, then look away. No one gets involved. I run to the corner store. I run to the park, a pathetic patch of yellow grass and broken swings. He's nowhere. I should call the police. The thought is instant, and the rejection of it is just as fast. My mind flashes to Damon. "You ever call the cops on me? Carmen, you ever? I'll tell them you're an unfit mother. I'll tell them you're crazy. They'll believe me, and I will take that boy from you." He's not a cop anymore. He was fired, but he still has friends. He still has that smile. I can't call them. I am utterly, completely alone. I sink onto my own front steps, the dirty concrete cold beneath my thin pants. I've been screaming his name for an hour. My voice is raw. The sun is starting to set. This is it. This is how it ends. He's gone. And then a car pulls up. It's not a squad car. It's black. A sleek, expensive black sedan that doesn't belong in this neighborhood any more than a spaceship would. It glides to the curb, its engine a low, powerful purr. The back door opens. Leo scrambles out. He's not hurt. He's fine. He's holding a small white paper bag. "Leo?" My voice is a croak. He sees me and his face falls. "Oh, you're home early." Before I can move, before I can scream or cry, a man unfolds himself from the driver's seat. He's tall. He's not dressed in the cheap suits I see on the street corner hustlers. This is a different language of wealth. A perfectly tailored black coat, a crisp white shirt, no tie. He moves with a stillness that is unnerving. He's not a man. He's a vault. He's solid and dark, and I have the sudden, terrifying feeling that he could absorb all the light in the world. He turns, and I see his face. I've seen him before, not in person, in whispers. In the reverent silence that falls over the diner when his name is mentioned. Vincent Moretti, the man who owns downtown. The man who, according to rumor, owns the police, the judges, and half the city council. And he is at my doorstep with my son. I'm across the sidewalk in an instant. I snatch Leo's arm, pulling him behind me so hard he stumbles. My body is a shield. "What do you want?" My voice is shaking, but I put every ounce of steel I have into it. "Why do you have my son?" Vincent Moretti looks at me. He doesn't just look, he studies. His eyes are dark, not black, but a deep, smoky brown. They are calm, and they see everything. They see the cheap shoes, the fraying coat, the terror I'm trying to hide. He was downtown, the man says. His voice is quiet, low and rough, like gravel wrapped in velvet. It's the scariest sound I've ever heard. At the Cypress. He walked into my restaurant. The Cypress, the most expensive place in the city. A place I've only ever scrubbed graffiti off the back of. "Leo," I whisper, horrified. "What did you do?" "Your son," Moretti continues, ignoring my question, his eyes fixed on mine. "Walked up to my table, in front of my associates. He interrupted my lunch. I can't breathe. I'm so sorry. He's just a boy. I don't know what he was thinking. We don't have any money. I don't know what he broke, but I can pay for it. I'll pay for it." "He didn't break anything." Moretti takes a step closer. I stand my ground, though every instinct is screaming at me to run. He asked me for something. "What, a job? I'll talk to him. He won't bother you again." He asked me to be his dad. The words hang in the cold, gray air between us. My face burns. The shame is so hot, so sudden, it's like a slap. My son, begging a stranger, this stranger. "He said his mom was all alone," Moretti says, his voice still quiet, still terrifyingly calm, and that someone was gonna kill her. I stop breathing. The world stops. He knows. Leo told him. "Get away from her," I hiss. My rage is so pure it eclipses the fear. "Get away from my son. I don't know what kind of sick game you're playing, but you take your car and your suits, and you get out of my neighborhood." I grab Leo, shove him toward the apartment door. "Go, now, Leo!" Moretti watches me. He doesn't move. My men laughed. I don't care. I'm at the door, fumbling with the lock. Jiggle, push, turn. It won't open. My hands are shaking too hard. "He has your eyes," Moretti says from the sidewalk. "But they were desperate, and he had a situation." He nods at Leo's bruised eye, which is now a sick shade of yellow and green. "He told me what happened. Not a bully, a man." My blood turns to ice. He said the man told him, "Tell your mama she's next." I turn around, my back against the door. I am cornered. He knows. He knows my secret. He knows my fear. This is Damon. It has to be. Damon found us. "Who are you?" I whisper. "My name is Vincent." He takes another step. He's at the bottom of my steps now. He's so close. He smells like wool and cold air and something dark and expensive. "Your son is a smart boy. He's also terrified, and he's right to be. We don't need your help." "You do. It's not a question. It's a fact. He's looking at me, but he's also looking past me, at the broken streetlight, at the shadows in the alley across the street. He sees the whole board. I'm just a pawn." "Go away," I say. I finally get the door open. I pull Leo inside, into the darkness of our hallway. "You're a threat," I say, my voice breaking. "You being here, it's a threat. You'll bring trouble." "The trouble is already here. Carmen." He knows my name. I slam the door. I slam it so hard the frame rattles. I throw the deadbolt, a flimsy piece of metal that wouldn't stop a child. I'm leaning against the wood, my heart trying to beat its way out of my chest. Leo is crying, silent, terrified tears. A piece of paper slides under the door. It's not paper. It's cardstock, heavy and black. I stare at it. His voice, muffled but clear, comes through the wood. "If anyone touches you or your boy again, I'll know." I hear his footsteps walking away. I hear the car door open, then close. I hear the engine purr, and then silence. I wait for a full minute before I can make my hand move. I pick up the card. There's no business name, just a name, Vincent Moretti, and a 10-digit number. I run to the window, the one that looks out over the street. The black sedan is gone. That night, I hold Leo in my bed. He's confessed everything. The man who hit him wasn't a stranger. He's seen him before, watching our building. He cornered Leo in the alley behind the school. He grabbed his face and told him to deliver the message, a message from Damon. I hold my son and I cry. I cry silently, my face buried in his hair, so he won't hear me. I cry for his lost innocence. I cry for my own stupidity in thinking we could ever be safe. I cry because Damon has found us, and I know what he's capable of. He will not stop until he has me, or he has broken me. I cry until I have no tears left, and my body is just a hollow, aching shell. Leo is asleep, his breath finally even, his small hand clutching the front of my shirt. I slip out of bed, I need air. I go to the window again. The street is empty. The broken light flickers. Wait, not empty. Across the street, parked in the shadows of the condemned laundromat, is a dark sedan. It's not the one Moretti was driving. This one is different, a black town car. I can't see inside. The windows are tinted, but it's there. It wasn't there an hour ago. I watch it for a long time. It doesn't move. It just sits, a silent, dark predator. A man, Vincent Moretti's man. He's watching. My first thought is anger, a hot, furious wave of it. How dare he? How dare he put a guard on me? Like I'm his property. Like I'm a child who can't take care of herself. This intrusion. This will draw attention. This will make things worse. This will bring the police. This will bring Damon. My second thought is fear. Cold, sharp fear. I am exposed. The underworld has found me. I've traded one monster's shadow for another's. I am trapped between two forces, and I am nothing. I am a speck of dust about to be crushed. And then, a third feeling. A tiny, traitorous spark, deep in my chest. A feeling I haven't had in 6 years. Gratitude. It's wrong, it's dangerous, but it's there. For the first time since I ran, for the first time since I learned that I was completely, utterly on my own. Someone else is standing in the dark. I look at the car, I look at my sleeping son, and I don't know whether to lock my doors or leave them open. I don't know if I've just been saved or if I've just been damned. The black sedan is still there in the morning. It sits across the street, a silent, unblinking eye. I spent the night pacing, watching it from the slit in my curtains, my body vibrating with a terrible mixture of fury and, shamefully, relief. Now, in the gray morning light, with Leo holding my hand, the anger wins. I am not a prisoner. This is my street. Leo, stay on the steps. Do not move. I order. He clutches my hand tighter. Mom, don't. Stay. I let go and march across the street. I feel the pavement vibrate as a truck rattles by, but my eyes are fixed on that tinted windshield. I don't care who is in there. I don't care what they're capable of. They are going to see me. I reach the driver's side and slam my palm flat against the window. The sound is a dull, satisfying thud. Wait, get out of here, I yell. You hear me? We don't want you. We don't need you. Go! The window glides down, smooth and silent. The man inside doesn't look like a thug. He looks like an accountant. He's wearing a simple gray suit and a tired expression. He's holding a styrofoam cup of coffee. Ma'am, he says, his voice polite, I'd ask you to please lower your voice. I will not. Who are you? What do you want? My name is Sal, he says, as if we're at a PTA meeting. I'm here to ensure safety. Nothing more. My safety? His safety? I point back at Leo, who looks like a small, terrified statue on our steps. You think your being here makes us safe? You're a target. You're a neon sign pointing right at us. You tell your boss, you tell Vincent Moretti, to leave us alone. Sal takes a slow sip of his coffee. He looks at me, then at Leo, then at the peeling paint on my building's door. Mr. Moretti gave me an order. Mrs. Diaz, he says, his voice still infuriatingly calm. The order was to watch, to make sure the man who hurt your son doesn't come back, to make sure no one else does. I'm just doing my job. Have a good day at work. He said my name, Mrs. Diaz, as if I'm a respectable woman, not a terrified waitress. The window glides back up, sealing me out. I stand there for a full 10 seconds, my hand raised, my body trembling. He's not a guard. He's a babysitter. An armed babysitter. I am so angry I can't see straight. I grab Leo's hand and practically drag him to the corner where the school bus is supposed to pick him up. I watch until he's on it, and I watch Sal's car not moving, and I feel like I'm caught in a spider's web, and the spider is just sitting there, waiting. The diner is a special kind of hell. Every clattering plate, every demanding customer, every time Rosie yells my name, it feels like a needle digging into my skin. I'm exhausted, I'm terrified, and I am so angry. The lunch rush hits at 12:30. I'm balancing 3 plates of meatloaf specials, trying to navigate the narrow aisle. Hey, sweetheart, over here. I turn to table 4. 2 men in construction vests, their faces flushed with beer they shouldn't be drinking at noon. Another round, doll, the bigger one says. He has a thick neck and small, wet eyes. And make it snappy. We ain't got all day. Sure thing, I say, my waitress smile nailed in place. I drop off the meatloaf at table 2 and go to get their beers. When I come back, I set the glasses down. The big one's hand darts out and seizes my wrist. It's not a gentle touch. His calloused, greasy fingers dig into my skin. What's the hurry? He slurs, pulling me closer. You're too pretty to be in such a rush. Give us a real smile, huh? Not that fake one. My blood runs cold. I try to pull away. Sir, please let go of my arm. I ain't letting go till you promise to sit with us. We'll buy your time, sweetheart. How much? The diner sounds fade. All I can feel are his fingers. All I can smell is the stale beer on his breath. It feels like Damon's hand, Damon's breath. I freeze. This is how it happens. You don't fight, you don't scream, you freeze. Let go, my voice is a choked whisper. Or what, you gonna cry? He laughs, and his friend laughs with him. A shadow falls over the table. She's not gonna cry, a voice says. That voice, low, quiet, and heavy as a tombstone. The man's smile falters. He looks up. Vincent Moretti is standing there. He's not in his fine coat. He's in a simple black Henley, the sleeves pushed up to his forearms, showing dark hair and muscle. He doesn't look at me. He just looks at the hand wrapped around my wrist. You're finished, Vincent says. It's not a threat. It's a statement of fact. The hell I am, the man blusters, but his grip loosens. Who the hell are you, buddy? Her boyfriend. Vincent's eyes, dark and unreadable, finally lift to the man's face. You have 3 seconds to take your hand off her, pay your check, and leave. 1. The man's eyes go wide. He's not looking at Vincent's face. He's looking at the other 2 men who have suddenly appeared, standing just inside the diner door. They are wearing suits. They are built like refrigerators. The man's hand drops from my wrist as if he's been burned. We were just having fun, he stammers, scrambling for his wallet. You will leave this restaurant, Vincent says, his voice never rising above a conversational tone. You will not come back, and you will never, ever put your hands on a woman who is not asking for them again. Is that clear? Yeah, man, clear. We're going. The man throws a handful of crumpled bills on the table, way more than the check, and he and his friend practically fall over each other trying to get out the door. The 2 suits melt away with them. The diner is dead silent. Rosie is frozen behind the counter, a spatula in her hand. Henderson is peering over his newspaper. My wrist throbs where the man grabbed it. I cradle it against my chest. Vincent looks at me. His face is hard, carved from stone. Are you all right? I can't speak. I can only nod. The shame and anger are so thick in my throat I feel like I'm choking. He didn't save me. He exposed me. He marked me. He studies me for 1 more second, then turns and walks out. The bell over the door jingles, a tiny, cheerful sound in the wreckage of the moment. I rip off my apron. Carmen, where are you? Rosie starts. I'll be right back. I shove through the door and into the back alley. It smells like sour milk and garbage. He's there, leaning against the brick wall as if he was waiting for me. Why? What was that? I demand. Marching right up to him, I poke him in the chest, my finger hitting a wall of solid muscle. "What do you think you're doing?" His eyes drop to my finger. I snatch it back. "That man was harassing you," he says calmly. "That man was a drunk idiot. I can handle drunk idiots. I've been handling them my whole life. What I can't handle is you. You think you can just show up? You think you can just send your goons and fix my life?" He put his hands on you. "And you put your men on my street. You show up at my job. You're stalking me. You're painting a target on my back. Do you have any idea what men like you, what your presence does to a person like me? You're going to get me killed. You're going to get my son killed." I'm yelling now. I'm crying, hot, furious tears that I hate. He doesn't move. He just watches me, his face unreadable. He lets me scream, lets me sob, lets me completely fall apart in this filthy alley. When I'm finally done, gasping for breath, my face wet, he takes one step closer. The alley suddenly feels very, very small. "You're already a target," he says, his voice low and rough. "The man who hit your son. He's out there. He gave Leo a message. I'm not the danger. Carmen, I'm the only thing standing between you and the danger. I don't want your protection." I scrub at my face. "I don't want anything from you. Take your man away. Stop. Whatever this is. I don't want your help." His dark eyes search mine. He's looking for something. I don't know if he finds it. "I heard you," he says, his voice so quiet I have to strain to hear it. "You're not the one who asked. Your son did." And just like that, all the fight goes out of me. He's right. Leo did this. Leo invited the monster in, thinking he was a prince. Vincent straightens up. "Go back to work. Your wrist is bruising." He walks past me, out of the alley, and disappears. I try to keep my distance. I really do. I tell Leo that Mr. Moretti is a busy man, that he's not our friend, that he's just a man. But Leo doesn't listen. "He's cool, Mom," Leo says over dinner, a dinner I didn't buy. I'd come home from that shift to find 2 large paper bags outside my door. Not cheap store-brand stuff, fresh fruit, real milk, pasta with a name I couldn't pronounce, a chicken, bread that was still warm. I wanted to throw it away. I was so angry. But I looked at the half box of macaroni in my cupboard, and I looked at Leo, and I swallowed my pride. It tasted like ashes. "He's not cool, mijo," I say, serving him a piece of the roasted chicken. "He's complicated. But he feels safe. When he's around, I feel safe. Like the man in the red hat won't come back." I stop, the serving spoon in my hand. "What man in the red hat?" Leo shrinks a little. "Just a man, the one who was watching, before Mr. Vincent's car came. He's gone now." My stomach turns over. Damon had people watching me. For how long? I don't ask any more questions. The changes are small, but they're everywhere. I come home one afternoon, and my key, which I always have to jiggle and shove, slides into the lock. It turns, click, it just works. I push the door open. The old, broken brass lock has been replaced by a heavy, silver deadbolt, solid steel. My landlord, Mr. Slattery, a man who hasn't fixed a leaky faucet in 2 years, knocks on my door that weekend. He's sweating, though the air is cool. "Mrs. Diaz," he says, twisting his hat in his hands, "just wanted to let you know, we'll have an exterminator here on Monday for the pest problem, and a plumber to look at that pipe under your sink, and the window in the boys' room. We'll get that fixed, too. We value you as a tenant, deeply." He doesn't meet my eyes. He just nods and scurries away. Vincent is not asking my permission. He's just taking over. He's weaving himself into the fabric of my life, mending the holes I've been trying to patch with paper and tape. It's terrifying. It's invasive. And God help me, it's a relief. Leo is changing too. His teacher calls me. "Mrs. Diaz, this is Mrs. Gable. I wanted to let you know what a wonderful turnaround Leo has had. He's participating in class. He's talking to the other children. He drew a picture. I wait. It was a picture of his family, she says, her voice soft. It was you. And him. And a very tall man in a black coat. He said it was his new dad. I hang up the phone and my hands are shaking. A week later, Vincent is at my door. He doesn't knock, just 2 sharp raps. I open it, he's standing there, and Leo is at his side. My son is grinning from ear to ear, holding up a drawing. He got an A+, Vincent says. His eyes meet mine. There's something different in them, a tiredness I haven't seen before. I told him if he got a perfect grade, I'd take him to the lake to skip stones. You did not, I say, but there's no heat in it. Mom, can we, please? He promised. Leo is bouncing, vibrating with an energy I haven't seen in years. I look at Vincent. You're busy? We're busy. I'm not, he says. And you have the day off. I checked your schedule. My blood runs cold. He checked my... Rosie told you. Rosie is very cooperative when I pay for her entire lunch rush. One afternoon. Carmen for him. I look at Leo's face. It's lit from within. He's a kid. A happy, excited kid. Fine, I sigh. One afternoon, let me get my shoes. We drive out of Hollis Point. The city's gray. Cracked pavement gives way to green, to trees, to wide open spaces. His car is silent. The leather seats softer than my mattress. Leo chatters the whole way, pointing out cows and trucks, and Vincent answers every single one of his questions with a quiet, serious patience. He takes us to a small lake, hidden away by tall pine trees. There's no one else here. The water is still, like glass. Vincent shows Leo how to find the flat stones. He kneels, his expensive slacks getting dirty, his posture identical to my son's. You have to hold it flat, he says, his voice a low rumble. Like this, and you snap your wrist, all in the wrist. He skips a stone. It flies, a black tick, across the blue water. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times. Whoa, Leo breathes. I sit on a worn wooden bench, my arms crossed over my chest. I watch them. I watch this. This mafia boss. This killer. This man who fixes locks and frightens landlords. Be gentle. I watch him praise Leo's attempt, even when the stone sinks with a pathetic plunk. The sun is warm on my face. The air smells like pine and damp earth, not stale coffee and garbage. I close my eyes. Just for a minute, I let the armor crack. I let myself feel the sun. I let myself listen to my son's laughter, a sound I thought I might never hear again. I don't think about Damon. I don't think about the man in the car. I don't think about money. I just am, and for the first time in 6 years, I relax. On the drive home, it's dark. Leo is buckled into the back seat, fast asleep, his face peaceful, his drawing clutched in his hand. Vincent pulls up to my building. The watcher's car, the one Sal drives, isn't here tonight. It's just us. He kills the engine. The silence in the car is thick, heavy. It's not peaceful like the lake, it's full. Thank you, I say, my voice quiet. I don't look at him. I look at my hands. For him. He needed that. It was nice. We all did, he murmurs. I can feel him looking at me. I feel the weight of his gaze. I finally turn to face him. He looks exhausted. The lines around his eyes are deeper than I realized. The man who holds the city, who calms my landlord, who frightens drunks, looks like he's carrying the world. Why are you really doing this, Vincent? I whisper. The groceries, the lock, the lake. This isn't just about Leo's promise. He stares at me for a long time. His eyes search mine, and it feels like he's seeing all the broken pieces, all the cracks I try to hide. I don't know anymore, he admits, his voice rough. He leans in. It's slow, so slow, a glacier moving across a continent. He's giving me every second to pull away, to scream, to slap him. I don't I'm frozen, I'm a rabbit, and the headlights are warm. His lips touch mine. It's not a movie kiss, it's not fire or lightning. It's hesitant, it's just contact. His lips are dry and warm and firm. It's a question. I should run. I should be sick. This is the man who... My hand moves. It has a mind of its own. It lifts slowly. And my fingers, trembling, touch his jaw. The skin is rough with stubble. The air in the car changes. He lets out a breath, a short, sharp sound, as if he's been holding it for years. He takes my touch as permission. His other hand comes up, fast, and buries itself in my hair, cupping the back of my head. He's not gentle. He's not asking anymore. He holds me, his fingers tightening, and his mouth presses against mine. This kiss is not hesitant. This kiss is hungry. It's raw and deep and full of a desperate, coiled tension. I feel the strength in his shoulders, the power he holds back every second of every day. He kisses me like he's starving, like he's been in a desert and I am water, and God help me, I kiss him back. My lips part, my other hand finds his shoulder, clutching his shirt. It's a kiss of sheer, terrified confusion. It's fear and longing and a dark, dangerous survival. Then I remember who he is, what he is. I shove him, hard. I tear my mouth from his, gasping for air. I scramble for the door handle, my fingers fumbling with the mechanism. No, I pant. My lips are stinging, tingling, swollen. Stop! This isn't real. This is crazy. I can't. This is not... It can't be. I finally get the door open and stumble out into the cold night air. I look back. Vincent hasn't moved. He's in the dark, but I can see the outline of his face, the intensity of his eyes. He's not angry. He's not sorry. He just is. It already is, he says. I don't say goodbye. I wrench the back door open and carefully unbuckle my sleeping son. I lift him, my arms shaking so badly I'm afraid I'll drop him. He's a dead weight, warm and real in my arms. I slam the car door and run. I don't look back. I get inside. Into my apartment, I throw the new solid deadbolt. The sound is a loud, final click. I put Leo in his futon. I pull his sneakers off. I go to the bathroom. I brace my hands on the sink and look in the mirror. My hair is a mess. My eyes are wild. And my mouth is red and swollen and kissed. I am a woman who has just been kissed by Vincent Moretti. I pace the small floor of my living room, from the window, where I see his car is finally gone, to the kitchen, where the last of his groceries sit on my counter. He's a monster, he's a killer, he's the dark. But he was gentle with my son, and he fixed my lock, and he kissed me like I was the only thing in the world that mattered. My hand goes to my lips. I am torn, I am terrified, I don't even know the word for what I am. I am a woman at war with herself, and I am losing. My lips still burn from the memory of his kiss. I spent that night in a restless, haunted half-sleep, caught between the adrenaline of his touch and the terror of what it meant. That kiss was not an ending. It was a beginning. A man like Vincent Moretti didn't just kiss a woman like me. It was an act of acquisition. And I had let him. I had kissed him back. I had been so caught in the storm of his power, his protection, that I had forgotten he was the storm. When morning came, the gray light felt accusing. I got Leo ready for school, my hands shaking as I tied his shoes. My new deadbolt, the one Vincent had installed, felt less like a protection and more like the first bar on a cage. "Mom, you're pulling too tight," Leo winced. "Sorry, mijo." I loosened the knot. I had to face what I'd been avoiding. The man in the red hat, the man who hit my son. Damon, my fear had been a vague, shadowy thing. But Leo's fear was specific, and Leo had been brave enough to act. He had gone to the one man he thought was stronger than the monster. I walked Leo to the bus stop, my eyes scanning every alley, every car. The sedan that had been watching my building was gone. Sal, the polite man who looked like an accountant, was gone. For a wild, terrible second, I thought Vincent had pulled his protection, that the kiss had been a test, and I had failed it, that I was alone again. But as I walked back, I realized the street felt different. The usual group of men who loitered on the corner, dealing and catcalling, wasn't there. The alley across the street was empty. Then I saw them. 2 cars, not Sal's sedan. These were nondescript, a dull blue, a boring gray. One was parked near the end of the block, a man inside reading a newspaper. The other was down by the corner, angled to see both my street and the main road. Vincent hadn't pulled his men. He had increased them. He'd taken Leo's man in the red hat seriously. This wasn't a single guard anymore. This was a perimeter. He was quietly, methodically, taking my neighborhood. I felt a chill that had nothing to do with the morning air. I was being smothered. I was being kept. When I got back to my apartment building, I checked the mail. The lobby was dim, smelling of old, wet wool. I fumbled with the key to my rusted, dented mailbox. Junk, a circular, the electric bill, and a plain, white envelope. Standard size, no return address. My name, Carmen Diaz, and my apartment number, 2B, were written in a neat, blocky, all-caps handwriting. I knew that handwriting. My stomach did not drop. It did not fall. It simply ceased to exist. My body became a hollow shell. My legs felt like they were moving through wet cement as I climbed the stairs. I got to my door. My key, the key that used to jiggle and fight, slid in. Click. The lock opened. I got inside and threw the new deadbolt. The sound was a loud, hollow thud in the silent apartment. My hands were shaking so hard I couldn't open the envelope. I tore it. The paper inside was cheap, a single sheet of lined paper ripped from a notebook. There weren't many words, but they were enough. Did you miss me, Carmen? I missed you. 6 years is a long time to think. I've been thinking about you every day, thinking about what's mine. I heard you have a boy now. I'm out. I'll see you soon. I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I just stopped. The letter fluttered from my numb fingers. He was out. He was here. The man who hit Leo. The man in the red hat. It was him. Or one of his friends. He had been playing with me. He had been watching. He knew. He was here. The panic was a physical thing, a cold, oily poison that flooded my veins. I backed into the kitchen, my hands grasping for the counter. I couldn't breathe. I was going to be sick. I needed to run. I needed to grab Leo, grab the $27 in my cookie jar, and run. But where? He had found me here, and he would find me anywhere. And he was a cop, or he was a cop, and he knew how to find people. I was trapped. No, not trapped. I had one single terrible option. I ran to my purse and dug out the black card, the one with just his name and a number. My fingers were stiff, like they belonged to someone else. I dialed. It rang only once. Yes, his voice. Not hello, just yes. Vincent, my own voice was a stranger's, a high-pitched, reedy squeak. It's Carmen Diaz. There was a half-second of silence. I could hear the expensive quiet of his car or his office. What's wrong? It was not a question. It was a command. I got a letter. I sank to the floor, the phone clutched in my hand. It's him, my ex, Damon Keller. He's out. He knows where I am. Oh God, Vincent, he's here. I started to sob then. Ugly, gulping, broken sobs. The dam had burst. Where are you? His voice was sharp, a knife cutting through my panic. My apartment. I'm alone. Leo's at school. Lock the door. The deadbolt. Do not open it for anyone. I'll be there in 5 minutes. The line clicked. 5 minutes. It felt like an eternity. I was curled on the floor, my eyes fixed on the letter. It looked so innocent, just a piece of paper. A pounding on my door made me jump so high I screamed. Carmen, open the door, it's me. His voice. I scrambled to my feet, my legs wobbly. I fumbled with the deadbolt, my hands slipping. I yanked the door open. He burst in, And he wasn't the calm, collected man from the lake. His suit jacket was open, his tie was loose. His dark hair was slightly messy, as if he'd been running his hands through it. His face was a thundercloud. His eyes scanned the room in a second. He saw me, a trembling wreck. He saw the letter on the floor. He strode past me, his presence filling my tiny apartment, making it feel even smaller. He didn't touch me. He scooped up the letter. He read it. I watched his face. I had thought he was angry when he came in. I was wrong. That was just urgency. This was anger. His jaw tightened so hard a muscle jumped. His eyes, already dark, became too black. Empty pits. His composure, the thing that I'd seen him wear like armor, was gone. Damon Keller, he said. The name came out of his mouth like a curse. You know him? I whispered, hugging myself. I know of him. He crumpled the letter in his fist. Disgraced cop. Fired for brutality. Did 6 years for a felony assault. I didn't know he was connected to you. He finally looked at me, his eyes pinning me. Tell me. Everything, why he's obsessed. So I did. It all came out. The years of fear, the gaslighting, the smiles that always came before the fists. I told him how Damon was a different kind of animal, how he was smart, how he used his badge to control me, to isolate me. He's obsessed, I whispered, sinking onto the arm of my couch. He always said if he couldn't have me, no one could. The last time, the night I ran, I thought he was going to kill me. He broke 3 of my ribs. He held me under the water in the bathtub until I passed out. He told me he was baptizing me, cleansing my sins. He said I was his soul to save. I was shaking, lost in the memory. He's not right, and he knows how to hurt people and make it look like an accident. He knows how to make people disappear. I put my face in my hands, my shoulders shaking. The silence in the room was absolute. Then, wham! The sound was an explosion, a gunshot. It was so loud, so violent. I screamed, my head snapping up. Vincent's back was to me. His right hand, his fist, was buried in the drywall next to my door. He had punched a hole, a perfect fisted crater, right through the wall. Plaster dust was still falling. He was breathing, hard. His entire body was rigid, vibrating with a fury I had never seen. This was not the man who skipped stones. This was the monster. This was the mafia boss. He touched you. The words were not spoken. They were growled, a low, guttural sound that seemed to come from the deepest part of his chest. It was the scariest sound I'd ever heard. He turned slowly. His face was not his own. It was a mask of cold, black rage. His eyes were void. His composure was shattered. "This is not protection anymore," he snarled. "This is personal." He ripped his phone from his pocket. He didn't even look at his hand, which was now skinned and bleeding. "Get Sal," he barked into the phone. "Get everyone. The objective has a name. Damon Keller. I want him found. I want him in the ground. Now." He snapped the phone shut and looked at me. He's a dead man. The adrenaline, the fear, the rage from Vincent, it all crashed over me. The room was spinning. I couldn't breathe. The reality of the letter, of Damon, of Vincent's violence, it was too much. I need... I stumbled to my feet. I feel dirty. I need a shower. I walked, like a zombie, to the bathroom. I didn't lock the door. I turned on the water, as hot as I could stand, the steam instantly filling the tiny room. I stepped in, my clothes still on. I didn't care. I needed the heat. I needed to burn the feeling of Damon, of me, of this whole situation, off my skin. The water pounded against my back. I slid down the tile wall, my wet jeans and shirt clinging to me, and sat on the floor of the tub. And I broke. I put my head on my knees and I sobbed. Not the angry sobs from the alley, not the terrified sobs on the phone. These were the sobs of a woman who was broken, the sobs of a woman who had been running for 6 years and had just hit a wall. I was done. I had no fight left. The bathroom door creaked open. I didn't even look up. I didn't have the energy. The steam was thick, but I saw his shadow. Carmen. He was standing in the doorway, a dark, suited figure in the white steam. He just watched me, a wet, crumpled thing on the floor. He didn't say anything else. He just turned, grabbed the only clean towel from the rack, and then he stepped toward the tub. He reached past me and turned off the water. The sudden silence was deafening, broken only by my choked, gasping sobs. "Get up," he said. His voice was rough, but the murderous rage was gone. It was something else now, something thick. "I can't," I whispered. "I can't." He sighed. He looked down at his expensive suit, his $1,000 shoes on my wet, dirty bath mat, and then he reached in. He wrapped the towel around my shoulders, and in one smooth, powerful motion, he lifted me. He just picked me up, my wet, shivering, fully clothed body. He lifted me out of the tub like I weighed nothing. I was too stunned to even protest. My head just fell against his shoulder, his suit jacket instantly soaking. He didn't carry me to the couch. He carried me into my bedroom, a room he had never been in. He laid me down on my bed, on top of the cheap comforter. Get these clothes off," I shivered. "They're so cold." He nodded, his face grim. His movements were not seductive. They were clinical, like a soldier or a nurse. He gently, carefully, peeled my wet shirt and bra off me. I was too cold, too broken, to be modest. He didn't look. He just pulled the comforter up to my chin. He worked under the blanket, unbuttoning my jeans, sliding them off my numb legs. I was under the covers, naked and shivering. He pulled the blankets tighter around me. He sat on the edge of the bed, his back to me. He was just sitting, a guard. "Vincent," I whispered. He didn't turn. "I'm here." Don't leave." My voice was the voice of a child. "Please, I'm so cold." He looked down at his bloody hand, then at the hole in my wall. "I'm not leaving." He stood, not to go, but to take off his suit jacket. He dropped it on the floor. He kicked off his shoes. He unbuttoned his cuffs and rolled his sleeves. Methodical. He lay down on the bed, on top of the covers, on his back, staring at my stained ceiling, a wall, a guard. But I was still so cold. I moved, my body aching. I slid across the mattress until my back was pressed against his side. He flinched. His entire body went rigid. He was a block of iron. But he was warm. He was a furnace. "It's okay," I whispered, my teeth chattering. We lay like that for a minute. 5, 10. My shivering started to slow. His body was a solid, living wall between me and the world. Slowly, I turned over to face him. He was still staring at the ceiling. "Look at me," I whispered. He turned his head. His dark eyes, in the dim light of the bedroom, were full of a pain I recognized. It was the pain of a man who understood a world I was only just seeing. "I'm not scared of you," I lied. A small, bitter smile touched his lips. "You should be." "I'm not." This time it wasn't a lie. I lifted my hand, the one that wasn't shaking. I touched his face. His jaw was rough. He closed his eyes, as if my touch was an agony. "Carmen," he breathed. It was a warning, a plea. "It's okay," I said again. And I leaned in. I kissed him. It was not the confused, hungry kiss in the car. This was a choice. It was a kiss that tasted of salt and fear and a desperate need to feel something, anything, other than terror. He didn't respond, just let me kiss him, his body still rigid. I pulled back. "Vincent." And then he moved. It was sudden, a coil unleashing. He rolled a powerful, fluid motion, and he was over me. He was not crushing me. He was braced on his elbows, his body caging me. His face was inches from mine. "You don't know what you're doing," he growled. "Yes, I do." I looked right into his dark eyes. I'm not that broken girl anymore. He doesn't get to win. He doesn't get to scare me. His face softened, just a fraction. He lowered his head, and he kissed me. This kiss was not a search, it was a claim. It was slow and deep, and it was a promise of a different kind of violence, a different kind of protection. His hand, his good hand, came up and cupped my face, his thumb tracing my cheekbone as if he was memorizing me. My hands of their own accord went into his thick, dark hair. I held on. His lips moved from my mouth to my jaw to the hollow of my throat. Every touch was deliberate. His other hand, the bloody one, slid down my side, over my ribs. I gasped, a sharp, sudden intake of breath. It wasn't passion, it was pain. He froze, instantly. What? His voice was sharp. Did I hurt you? No, I whispered, a tear sliding from the corner of my eye. It's old, an old break. From him, they just never healed right. I watched his face. The tenderness was gone, vaporized, replaced by that cold, black, murderous rage. Where? He whispered. I took his hand, his good hand, and guided it. Here and here. He touched the spots, his fingers gentle, as if he could feel the old, badly healed breaks under the skin. He lowered his head. He was so still. And then he pressed his lips, a soft, warm, gentle kiss, right on the spot that always ached. I let out a sob. He moved back up, his eyes locked with mine. He kissed my forehead. He kissed my eyelids. He kissed the tear tracks on my cheeks. And for the rest of the night, he didn't leave the bed. He held me. He touched me with a slow, searching reverence, as if I was something priceless. He was memorizing my scars. He was healing me. When I woke, it was not to a nightmare. It was to the gray light of morning. And I was warm. I was not alone. A heavy arm was draped over my waist. I was tucked into his side, my head on his chest. I could hear his heart, a slow, steady beat under my ear. It all came rushing back, the letter, the breakdown, him. I was in Vincent Moretti's arms, and I felt, for the first time in 6 years, completely and utterly safe. I lay still, just breathing him in, the smell of wool and expensive soap, and him. I turned my head, just slightly. He was asleep. His face, in sleep, was younger. The hard lines of control softened. He looked peaceful. His bloody, skinned hand was resting on the pillow near my head. I watched him until his breathing changed. His eyes fluttered, then opened. They were not soft. They were instantly awake, instantly alert. They found mine. We just looked at each other. The events of the night, the confession, the passion, the shared bed, all hung in the air between us. "Good morning," I whispered. A muscle in his jaw tightened. He didn't say good morning. "He's a dead man," he said. "What?" I sat up, clutching the sheet to my chest. "Keller." He sat up, too, the mask of the boss sliding back into place. "He's dead." "Vincent, no." My voice was sharp. "You can't. Not like that. I'm not a killer. Don't make me that. Don't do that for me." He paused, his hand halfway to grabbing his phone. He looked at me, a long, hard look. "He hurt you," he said, as if it were the simplest equation in the world. "He's hunting you. He's hunting Leo. This ends. Now." "Then find him," I said, my voice shaking. But don't kill him. Not for me, please." He watched me, his face unreadable. He was weighing my request. He was deciding. "Go back to your life," and he said, finally. He got out of bed. He was just a rumpled man in a suit, but he was the most dangerous thing I'd ever seen. "Take Leo to school. I will handle this. He will be neutralized, quietly." He didn't say he wouldn't kill him. He just said he'd handle it. He picked up his jacket and walked out of my bedroom. I heard him pause in the living room. I heard him punch a number into his phone. "Clean this up," and he ordered. "The wall and her lock. Change it again, get a police bar, and double the perimeter. He's here." He hung up. He didn't say goodbye. I heard the front door open, and then the solid, final click of the deadbolt he had locked on his way out. I was alone, but I wasn't. I went back to my life. I took Leo to school. I went to work at the diner. I felt like I was walking on a different planet. Rosie gave me a strange look. "You look different," she said, narrowing her eyes. "Less hunted." "Just tired," I lied. "A man came and fixed the hole in my wall. He didn't just patch it, he redid the whole section. He installed a heavy steel bar for the door. He checked the locks on my windows. He never sent me a bill. I didn't see Vincent for 3 days, but he was everywhere." "Mom, you're smiling," Leo said at dinner. I paused, my fork halfway to my mouth. "What?" "You're smiling. For real. Not your diner smile." I put my fork down. I hadn't even realized it. "It's 'cause of Mr. Vincent, isn't it?" he said, his eyes bright. "He's our friend. He's complicated, mijo." Leo grinned, a big, gap-toothed grin. "He really is my dad now, huh?" My laugh died in my throat. I didn't know what he was. But across town, in a part of the city I had never seen, other men were talking. Men with hard faces and cold eyes. Victor Melnov, a rival with a long memory and a brutal reputation, listened to a report. Vincent Moretti, the Iceman, the man who was all business, all profit, was distracted. He had diverted his best men, his top earner, Sal, from his usual routes. He was spending a fortune to lock down a single worthless block in Hollis Point. His consigliere was furious. The family was exposed. Victor leaned forward, his cigarette glowing. Find out why. The report came back an hour later. It wasn't a business deal. It wasn't a new turf war. It was a waitress and a kid. Victor Melnov smiled. He'd been looking for a crack in the Moretti empire for a year, and he had just found it. It wasn't a crack. It was a canyon, and he was going to drive his whole operation right through it. For 3 days, I lived in the eye of the storm. I moved through a world that looked the same but felt entirely different. I took Leo to school. I worked my shifts at Rosie's. I came home, but under the surface of this mundane life, a war was brewing. I could feel it in the air, in the quiet hum of Vincent's control. The men in the nondescript cars were a permanent fixture. They no longer tried to be subtle. They were a silent, watchful perimeter. I learned their shift changes. The man reading the newspaper was replaced by a man checking his phone at precisely 2 p.m. I hadn't seen Vincent since the morning he'd left my bed, but his presence was a heavy blanket, settling over everything. The new, heavy steel bar on my door was a constant reminder. Every time I locked it, I felt a strange mix of safety and imprisonment. I was cleaning up after dinner on the 4th night when the knock came. It wasn't a normal knock. It was 2 sharp raps, just like Vincent's, but it was the wrong time. It was almost 10 o'clock. Leo was asleep. I froze, my hand deep in the soapy dishwater. "Who is it?" I called, my voice tight. "Carmen, open the door. It's Vincent." His voice was flat, dead. It was a tone I hadn't heard before, not even when he'd punched the wall. This was worse. This was an abyss. I dried my hands, my heart hammering. I undid the deadbolt, my fingers fumbling, and lifted the heavy steel bar. I pulled the door open. He was standing there, but he wasn't alone. Sal, the man who looked like an accountant, was at his shoulder. Both men looked like they hadn't slept in a week. Vincent's face was carved from granite. He was wearing the same suit he'd had on 3 days ago, but it was rumpled, his tie gone, his collar open. There was a dark, reddish-brown stain on the sleeve of his white shirt. "What's wrong?" I whispered. He looked past me, into my apartment, his eyes checking the shadows. "Pack a bag for you and Leo," he said. His voice was raw. "You're not staying here tonight." "What? What happened?" My panic flared, instant and hot. "Is it Damon? Did he—" "It's not Damon." He pushed past me into the apartment, Sal remaining in the hallway like a statue. Vincent went to my window, the one he'd looked out of before, and stared down at the street. "It's more complicated." Complicated. Vincent. You show up at my door at 10 at night looking like that. You can't just tell me it's complicated. What happened?" He turned from the window. The dim light from my cheap lamp cast shadows across his face, hollowing out his eyes. "One of my men, the man I had watching the north end of your block, he was found an hour ago." He paused. He took a breath. "He was in his car. He'd been dead for hours." I put my hand over my mouth. "Oh, God, the man reading the newspaper?" "His name was Anthony," Vincent snapped. "He had a wife, 2 kids. He was angry, not at me, at the world, at the fact. "Who did this?" I whispered, though I was terrified I already knew. "Was it Damon?" "No." He finally looked at me, his eyes black and bottomless. "Damon is a rabid dog, but he's a coward. This was a message, a professional." He held up his hand. He was holding a small, clear plastic bag. Inside it was a piece of metal, a locket. This was in his hand. The killer left it for him to find, or for me to find. We're not sure. What does it mean?" "It means they're not just watching you anymore. They're watching me. They're telling me they know I'm weak." He closed his fist around the bag. They carved a message into his chest. He wouldn't look at me. He was staring at the hole in my wall, the fresh patch of plaster that was still a lighter shade than the rest of the paint. "Vincent, what did it say?" He looked at me. "Family makes you weak." I felt the blood drain from my face. Family, me, Leo. He was dead because of us. "Oh, God," I sobbed, stumbling back. I did this. He's dead because you put him here, because of me." "This is not on you?" he growled, his voice a low, vicious thing. He crossed the room in 2 strides, his hands grabbing my shoulders. His grip was steel. "You did not do this. I did this. I was careless. I let a personal matter cloud my judgment. I underestimated the enemy. I will not make that mistake again." "The enemy? I thought Damon was the enemy." "Damon is a pawn." He let me go, his hands dropping, but his eyes held me fast. "This is Victor Melnov, an animal who's been wanting a piece of my territory for a year, and he's been waiting. He saw me diverting resources. He saw me distracted. He saw you, and he saw an opening. He's using Damon, funding him, pushing him, and he's sending me messages." He turned away from me. His shoulders, which I'd always seen as so impossibly broad, seemed to carry a new, crushing weight. I can't be here," I whispered. "I have to go. I'll take Leo. We'll disappear. This is a war. Vincent, I can't be this." "You will go nowhere." He spun on me, his face a mask of such cold fury that I stopped breathing. "You will not run," he said, his voice deadly quiet. "You ran from Damon. You will not run from me. Running is what got Anthony killed. Running is what will get you killed. Do you understand me? You are done running." "Then what?" I yelled, my fear turning to a wild, desperate anger. "What happens now, Vincent? You can't put another man out there to die for me. I won't have it." "You're right." His voice was calm, terribly calm. "I'm not putting one man out there." He walked to my door. He pulled it open. I looked past him. The hallway, which was always empty, was not. Sal was there, and 2 other men I'd never seen, both in dark suits, both with the same hard, empty faces. "He's sending," Vincent said, "his full field team, 32 men. They're not just watching the street. Carmen, they're watching everything. They will be in the lobby. They will be on the roof. They will be in the stairwells. The man who drives Leo's bus, he's mine. The teacher's aide who walks him to the classroom, she's mine. The old woman in apartment 3B, the one who watches everyone, she just got a very generous offer on her lease. One of my men moves in tomorrow." I was stunned. I couldn't speak. This wasn't protection. This was an occupation. "You're not going anywhere," he said, stepping back into my apartment and closing the door. "Because as of tonight, this building, this block, is the single safest place in Hollis Point. It is a fortress, and you are at the center of it. I stared at him, my mind reeling. 32 men, his whole army, for me, for a waitress and a kid, because a rival had called him weak. "You're insane," I whispered. This isn't a life, Vincent." "It's the only one you have," he said. "It's the only one he has. Now go. Pack your bag. I'm moving you to 3B tonight. It has a better line of sight." The next few days were a blur. I was a ghost in my own life. I was no longer Carmen Diaz, waitress. I was a package, a protected asset. I wasn't allowed to go to work. Vincent had called Rosie, and when I tried to call her myself, Sal, who was now my permanent, polite, terrifying shadow, gently took the phone from my hand. "Mr. Moretti has made arrangements," he said. "Your salary is being covered with a significant bonus for the inconvenience." Inconvenience. A man was dead. My life was over, an inconvenience. I walked Leo to school. Sal walked 3 paces behind us. Another man, one I didn't know, walked 3 paces in front. They didn't talk. They just existed. The other parents, the ones I used to nod to, pulled their children closer. They crossed the street to avoid us. We were poison. We were marked. At the school, the new teacher's aide, a young woman with a pleasant face and eyes that were cold and quick, met Leo at the door. "I'll take him from here. Mrs. Diaz." I'd try to get groceries. Sal would stop me. "Just give me your list, ma'am. It will be delivered." I was trapped. I was in a cage, a very safe, very expensive, very well-guarded cage. I hadn't seen Vincent since that night. He was, as Sal put it, handling the situation. After a week of this, I was going insane. The walls of 3B, which was identical to my apartment but cleaner, were closing in. I was suffocating. Leo was quiet again. He'd stopped drawing. He just sat and watched cartoons, his face blank. I had to get out. I found Sal in the hallway. "I'm going for a walk, Sal." "That's not advisable, ma'am." "I am going to the park, the one on Elm. Leo needs air. I need air. You can come. You can bring the whole damn army. But we are leaving this building." He sighed, a long suffering sound. He tapped his earpiece. "Package is mobile. We're going to the park." The walk was a nightmare. 2 men in front, me and Leo in the middle, Sal and another man behind. People stared. A police car, a real police car, slowed as it passed. The officer looked at us, looked at the men, and then he just sped up and drove away. He knew. He knew not to get involved. Vincent was right. He owned them, too. When we got to the park, it was empty. The men fanned out, creating a perimeter around the swings. "Go play, mijo," I said, trying to smile. Leo just shook his head. He sat on the bench next to me and held my hand. I was failing him. All this suffocating safety, was killing the little boy I had fought so hard to protect. That night, I called Vincent. I used the number on his card, the one I had memorized. He picked up on the first ring. "What's wrong?" "You have to stop this." My voice was shaking, not with fear, but with a cold, clear rage. This is not protection. This is a prison. You've smothered us." There was a long silence on the line. I could hear him breathing. "I'm doing what is necessary," he said, his voice hard. "No, you're building a castle around me. I don't need a castle, Vincent. I never asked for a castle. I just wanted peace. I just want my life back." Another silence. This one was longer. "Then I'll build the walls high enough," he whispered, his voice so low and rough it barely sounded like him. "So no one can ever reach you again. I will build them so high that even God can't see over them. You are safe. That is the end of the discussion." He hung up. I stood there, the phone in my hand, and I realized he wasn't protecting me from Victor Melnov or from Damon. He was just keeping me. He was protecting his possession, the weakness his rival had pointed out. He wasn't saving my life. He was ending it, just in a different, slower, more comfortable way. And in that moment, I hated him. The next day, I was at the school to pick up Leo. I was early. The aide, the one with the cold eyes, always brought him out at 3:05 precisely. At 3:06, I was nervous. At 3:07, I was walking to the front door. Sal stepped in front of me. "Ma'am, please, they're just running late." "Get out of my way, Sal." I shoved past him. I burst through the front doors of the school. The hallway was empty. The silence was wrong. "Leo," I called. A door down the hall opened. It was Principal Miller, his face pale and blotchy. "Mrs. Diaz? There's been an incident." My world, which had been gray and suffocating, went pure, white-hot and silent. "Where," I said, my voice not my own, "is my son?" He's in my office. He's safe. Mrs. Diaz, he's safe. A man was in the building. He pulled the fire alarm. He tried to grab Leo in the confusion. I didn't hear the rest. I was running. I burst into the office. Leo was there, huddled in a chair, his face white, his eyes huge. The teacher's aide was with him, her knuckles white as she gripped his shoulder. "Mom!" he screamed. He launched himself from the chair and into my arms. He was shaking so hard he was vibrating. "I've got you," I whispered, my own body going cold. "I've got you. Mijo. You're safe. I'm here." It was him. "Mommy," he sobbed into my neck. "The man who hit me. The man in the red hat. He was here. He grabbed me." "What happened?" I asked, my voice a deadly, low monotone. My eyes locked on the aide. She was shaking. He was dressed as a janitor. He pulled the alarm. He tried to pull Leo from my hand. He said he was his father. My blood turned to ice. "I didn't let go," the aide said, her voice trembling but hard. I have a permit." She patted her ankle. "He saw it. He ran. Just as Mr. Miller came, he's gone. He got out a side door." "Damon, here." He had touched my son. He had put his hands on my son. I carried Leo out of that school. Sal and his men were in a state of controlled panic. Sal's face was gray. "Mrs. Diaz, Shut up," I said. "Just shut up. Get me home." We got back to the apartment, the fortress. I sat with Leo. I held him until his shaking stopped. I held him until he fell asleep, his small face still pale, his eyelashes wet with tears. My guilt was a living thing. It was a cold, heavy stone in my gut. I had done this. I had brought this world down on my son. Vincent, Damon, Victor, they were all just different kinds of monsters, and I had invited them in. My fear, my guilt, it was suffocating. But under it, something else was growing. A cold, hard resolve. I was done. I was done being a package. I was done being a pawn. I was done being protected. I waited until nightfall. I waited until I was sure. Sal was outside my door. The man on the roof was on his patrol. I grabbed my purse. I went to the cookie jar and took the $27. I had $100 in my shoe, my running money, the money I'd been saving for 6 years. It was all I had. I went to Leo's futon. "Mijo, wake up. We're going on an adventure." He rubbed his eyes. "What?" "Get your shoes. Put on your jacket. We have to be very, very quiet." He didn't ask questions. He'd seen his monster today. He was ready. I didn't take a bag. A bag was suspicious. I walked to the door. I put my ear to it. I heard Sal cough. I took Leo's hand. I led him to the back, to the fire escape, the one I had checked every day, the one I knew was rusty, the one I knew they wouldn't expect. I gently eased the window up. It screeched. I froze. I listened. No footsteps in the hall. "Okay," I whispered. "Quiet, like a mouse." I helped him out onto the cold, metal rungs. We went down the side of the building, into the filthy, dark alley where I had screamed at Vincent. We ran. We ran for 2 blocks, my hand clutching Leo's, my heart trying to beat its way out of my chest. I didn't have a plan, I just ran. To the bus station, the main terminal. It was a place to get lost, a place to go somewhere. Anywhere. The bus station was bright and smelled of diesel fumes and unwashed bodies. I looked up at the board. A bus was leaving for Chicago in 20 minutes. From there, I could go anywhere. Carmen. My blood stopped. My heart, which had been pounding, just stopped. It wasn't Vincent. I turned. Damon Keller was standing there. He was smiling. He was wearing a red baseball cap. I told you I'd see you soon. He said, he looked the same pale eyes, the same thin, cruel mouth. You shouldn't have run, Carmen. You know I always find you. Mom? Leo whispered, his hand going numb in mine. Get away from us, Damon. Now, why would I do that? I just came to collect my family. Me and you and the kid. We're going to be so happy. He took a step. A black sedan screeched to a halt at the curb, its headlights flooding the bus bay. The door flew open. It wasn't Vincent. It was Sal and 2 other men. "Ah, get her!" Sal yelled. Damon's face went from a smile to a snarl. "You bitch! You brought them?" He lunged for me. I shoved Leo behind me, and I did the one thing I'd never done. I didn't freeze. I didn't run. I kicked him as hard as I could, right between the legs. He roared, a sound of rage and pain, and doubled over. Sal was on him in a second. He didn't hit him. He didn't fight. He just pulled a taser. The crack of it was electric. Damon seized and then collapsed. "Get in the car, ma'am," Sal grunted, zip-tying Damon's hands. And then his car pulled up, Vincent's car. He got out. He wasn't in a suit. He was in jeans and a black sweater. He looked normal, and he was terrified. His eyes found me. They weren't angry. They were shattered. He saw me, clutching Leo, my body shaking. "You ran," he whispered. He was looking at me like he'd never seen me before. He looked betrayed. He was at the school," I stammered. He was here." Vincent's face went dark. He strode over to where Damon was groaning on the pavement. He knelt, pulled Damon's head up by the hair. "You touched his son," he snarled. "Vincent, no!" I screamed. It had started to rain, a cold, miserable drizzle. Vincent let go of Damon. He turned to me. He was drenched in seconds. You ran," he said again, his voice breaking. "After all of it, you ran. You were going to take him. From me." "From you?" I screamed, the rain plastering my hair to my face. "He's not yours. I'm not yours. You can't control me. You can't control him. You can't control everything." I was sobbing, the rain and my tears mixing. He was in front of me. His hands came up, cupping my face. His eyes were wild. He was furious. He was betrayed. And he was more afraid than I had ever seen him. "But I can protect what matters," he whispered, his voice raw. And he kissed me. It wasn't a slow kiss. It wasn't a questioning kiss. It was a desperate, messy, wet, hungry kiss. It was a kiss that said, "You are mine, and I will not lose you." His hands were hard against my face, his thumbs wiping the rain from my cheeks. I should have pushed him away, but I was so tired of running. My fingers, numb and cold, knotted in the front of his wet sweater. I kissed him back. I kissed him with all the fear, all the guilt, all the rage, and all the terrible, terrible relief. I held on to him, and he held on to me. In the rain, in the middle of a bus station parking lot, with a monster at our feet. He finally pulled back, his forehead resting against mine. We were both gasping. "Come home," and he said, "It wasn't an order, it was a plea." Sal cleared his throat. "Boss, we got company." I looked. The two cops from the car, the one that had passed me, they were at the edge of the bus bay, just watching. Vincent didn't even look at them. "It's handled," he said. He took my hand, he opened the back door of his car. He put Leo, who was silent, inside. Then he looked at me. "Carmen, get in." He returned to his men. "Put the trash in the trunk," he ordered, nodding at Damon. "And call Victor. Tell him the meeting is on. And tell him he lost." I got in the car. We drove home to the fortress. And I sat in the back, holding my sleeping son, and I watched the rain on the window, and I let myself believe, just for a second, that maybe this could work. The drive back to the fortress was silent. Not a peaceful silence. It was a thick, heavy, cold silence, loaded with the metallic taste of what-ifs. Leo had fallen asleep in the back, his small face pale, his breath fogging the window. I was in the front passenger seat. Vincent drove. He hadn't spoken to me since he'd pulled me from the rain-soaked pavement. He had simply opened the door, a silent command. He was not the man who had kissed me. He was not the man who had slept in my bed and memorized my scars. This was the other one. This was Moretti. His face was stone. His knuckles, gripping the steering wheel, were white. He was radiating a cold nuclear fission. I could feel it from 3 feet away. He was furious, not at me, but at the fact that I had been right. I had run, and I had run straight into the monster. His protection had failed, and my desperation had nearly gotten us all killed. When we got back to 3B, Sal and his men, their faces grim, were waiting. The apartment felt like a tomb. Leo woke, rubbing his eyes. I took his hand. "Go to bed, mijo," I whispered. He looked at Vincent, who was standing by the door, watching us. Is he coming back?" Leo asked, his voice small. Before I could answer, Vincent spoke. His voice was flat. "No." Leo nodded, as if that simple word was a binding contract. He shuffled to his futon. I turned to Vincent. The air between us was thick with unsaid words, with the memory of that desperate kiss, with the taste of betrayal. "He's in your trunk," I said, my voice shaking. "Damon, he's being handled." What does handled mean?" "Vincent, I kicked him. They tasered him. What are you—" "He is being processed," Vincent said, cutting me off. He was not looking at me. He was looking at the new steel bar on the door. He was checking the security he had put in place, the security I had bypassed. "This is war now, isn't it?" I whispered. That man, Victor, he's not going to stop." "No," Vincent said. He finally looked at me. His eyes were not angry. They were just tired and cold. "He won't stop, so I will have to stop him." He went to the kitchen, to the phone on the wall. He started making calls. His voice was low, a quiet string of commands. I heard words I didn't understand. Assets, containment, liquidate, full posture. He was a general moving pieces on a board. I was one of those pieces. I went to him. I put my hand on his arm. His muscle was rock hard. "Don't," I said. He paused, the phone in his hand, mid-dial. He looked down at my hand. "Don't do this," I whispered. This is because of me. Anthony, he's dead because of me. Now, you're going to war because of me. Let's just go, you and me. We can take Leo. We can go to that lake." He slowly, gently removed my hand from his arm. He didn't let go of it. He just held it, his thumb brushing over my knuckles. "Carmen," he said, his voice softer but still steel. "It is because of you that I have to do this. Do you understand? You can't run from this. You can't hide from this. The only way out is through." He declared war when he carved that message into Anthony. He escalated it when he threatened Leo, and he lost it when I took Damon from under his nose. Now, I am going to end it. "This will destroy you," I said, my voice breaking. I wasn't afraid of him. I was afraid for him. I saw the man under the armor, the man who looked at my son's drawings. You'll lose everything. He looked at me, and a small, sad smile touched his lips. It was the most heartbreaking thing I had ever seen. If I don't do this, Carmen, I will lose everything anyway. He let go of my hand. He turned back to the phone. Sal, get me the layout. I want eyes on every one of his warehouses. We start tonight. I was dismissed. The next day, the apartment was a high-security prison. Vincent was gone. Sal was gone. The army was in motion. They left 2 men in the hall, men I didn't know, with dead eyes and bulges under their jackets. I was alone with Leo. We were trapped. Leo was quiet. He'd been quiet ever since the school, ever since the bus station. He was processing the trauma, retreating into that silent place I knew so well. He sat at the small kitchen table for hours. He wasn't watching cartoons. He was drawing. I was pacing. My nerves stretched so thin they were humming. Every car that passed, every siren in the distance. I was sure it was them. I was sure it was a bomb or a gunshot. Mom, Leo said. I jumped, my hand flying to my chest. What, mijo? What is it? He held up his drawing. My breath hitched. It wasn't a drawing of monsters or cars or fire. It was a house, a small, simple house with a chimney and a tree. It looked like the cabin at the lake. In front of the house, there were 3 people. They were holding hands. One was a woman with scribbled brown hair. He had labeled her Mom. One was a small boy with a baseball cap, me. One was a tall, tall man, drawn almost entirely in a black crayon, with a serious face, Dad. My hand went to my mouth. I started to cry, silent, hot tears. Mom, don't cry, Leo said, his face full of concern. It's a happy picture. It's beautiful, mijo. I added something, he said, pointing to a small, 4-legged scribble next to the house. I looked closer. Underneath it, in his careful, blocky letters, he had written, maybe a puppy. I pulled him into my arms, burying my face in his hair. This was his dream. His simple, impossible dream. A house, a family, a dog. And I was the one who was letting a mafia war stand in the way of it. That evening, Vincent came back. He didn't knock. The men in the hall just let him in. He looked terrible. He was still in his suit, but it was rumpled. He hadn't shaved. He looked like he had been to hell and back. He didn't say hello. He just walked to the kitchen and poured a glass of water, drinking it in one long, desperate pull. Leo's asleep, I said quietly. Good. He scrubbed his face with his hands. I'm going to meet him. My blood went cold. Meet who? Damon? Victor. He said the name like a curse. He requested a meet to discuss terms. Terms? He's hurting, Vincent said, a dark satisfaction in his voice. We hit 2 of his warehouses last night. He's bleeding money. He wants to talk. He wants to offer peace. That's good, right? I said, a desperate hope rising. Peace. You can just stop. Peace is always the first option, he said, echoing his own words from before. It's cleaner. If he's serious. He straightened his tie. He ran his hands through his hair. He was putting the mask back on. Be careful, I whispered. He looked at me, and he walked over to me. He didn't touch me. He just looked. I saw Leo's drawing, he said, his voice low. It was on the table. I nodded, my throat tight. He thinks I'm... I know, I said. He's a kid. Vincent. He's just dreaming. Maybe a puppy, he said. A strange, small smile on his face. He nodded. Once, as if he was making a decision. I have to go. He left. I didn't sleep. I sat in the chair by the window, watching the empty street. I watched the sun come up, a bruised, purple-gray light. He came back just after 7 in the morning. I knew, the second he walked in the door, it had not gone well. His suit was still perfect, His hair was neat, but his eyes were two black holes, burning with a cold, white-hot light. He was radiating a fury that was so profound it was silent. "What?" I said, my voice barely a whisper. "What happened?" He walked past me, and he went to the kitchen. He opened the cabinet where I kept the cheap whiskey I used for cooking. He pulled it out, looked at the label, and put it back in disgust. "What did he say, Vincent?" He turned slowly. "He wants peace," Vincent said, his voice a low, terrifying monotone. "He said he'll call off his dogs. He'll give me Damon. But he had a price." "What, money territory?" Vincent's laugh was not a laugh. It was a short, sharp, ugly sound. "No, he said he knows I'm a reasonable man. He said he has Damon in his pocket, that Damon is his pet. He said Damon enjoys his work." My stomach turned to ice. "And then," Vincent continued, his voice dropping so low I had to strain to hear it, "he asked how Leo was. He said, 'Children are so fragile, are they not? I heard the boy, he's a fast runner, but not fast enough. Perhaps you trade me the boy? Then your problem, my problem. It is all gone. You go back to your business, I go back to mine.'" I couldn't breathe. My knees buckled. I grabbed the back of the couch. He had threatened Leo. He had tried to buy my son. "He put Leo's name in his mouth," Vincent whispered. He was shaking. The unbreakable man was shaking. His hands clenched into white-knuckled fists at his sides. He snapped. It wasn't loud. It was quiet. It was the quiet of a star collapsing. "I'm going to bury him," Vincent said. It was not a threat. It was a vow. It was a statement of fact. "I am not going to break his empire. I am not going to take his money. I am going to turn his entire life to dust, and I am going to salt the earth where it stood. He touched my family." He turned and strode to the door. "Where are you going?" I cried. "To war," he roared, and he was gone. The door slammed, and I was alone. Alone with my terrified, sleeping son, alone in the fortress, while the man who thought he was a king went to war for us. I spent the day in a daze. The men in the hall were a constant, silent presence. I made lunch. I think I ate. I don't remember. I was trying to give Leo a bath, trying to pretend, trying to make one small part of our day normal. The water was running. I heard a noise. I froze. It wasn't from the hall. The men were out there. I could hear them murmur. It was from the living room. A scrape, like a shoe on the floor. "Leo," I whispered, "stay here. Don't move." I turned off the water. I crept out of the bathroom. The apartment was dim. The sun was setting. He was standing by the window, the one with the fire escape. Damon. He was not in a red hat. He was a mess. He was thin. His eyes were bright, too bright, his smile a sick, twisted thing. He was holding a knife. "Told you," he whispered. You can't lock me out, Carmen. Not really. I've been watching. I saw you run. All his men at the front door. But he left the window for me. How did you... "Woo, get away from Victor," he laughed, a high, wheezing sound. "He let me go. He's a smart man. He said, go get your family. She's yours. He can't have what's yours." He took a step. "Leo," I said, my voice as calm as I could make it. Run to the hall. Get the men." "Oh, no," Damon said, his smile dropping. "No one is running. Not this time. We're a family. It's time for our baptism." He lunged, but I wasn't the same woman. I wasn't the woman he'd beaten. I had been kissed by a king. I had seen war. I grabbed the heavy glass vase from the side table and threw it. It missed, but it made him flinch. "Leo, run!" Damon grabbed me. He was strong, a wiry, desperate strength. You always gotta fight, don't you? You always gotta make it hard. He backhanded me. My head snapped back. The taste of blood, metallic and familiar, filled my mouth. Now, he panted, his face close to mine, his breath sour. Where is the boy? Mom? Damon's head snapped toward the hallway. Leo was standing there. He hadn't run. No, Damon smiled. He didn't run. Good boy. Come meet your real dad. Leo, I gurgled, blood in my mouth. Get in the closet, now. Leo looked at me, and he looked at Damon, and he ran. But he didn't run to us. He ran into the small hall closet. He slammed the door. Smart boy, Damon laughed. He likes to hide. I'll find him later. He hit me again, hard. I fell. My head struck the corner of the coffee table. The world went gray and swimmy. I could hear him, Leo, come out, wherever you are. Time to play. In the closet, Leo was shaking. He was crying, but he was silent. He clutched the small, simple phone Vincent had given him for emergencies. He couldn't call. Damon would hear. His fingers, trembling, hit the voice memo. He held the button. He whispered. His voice was a tiny, terrified thread. Vincent, Mr. Dad, he's here. The man in the red hat. He's in the house. He's hurting Mom. He's, please, he's here. He hit send. Vincent was in a warehouse, his voice a low, cold order when his phone buzzed, a message from Leo. He listened. His world stopped. He's in the apartment, he roared, a primal animal sound. All units now, 3B, go. Damon was dragging me by the hair. You're gonna be clean. Carmen, we're all gonna be clean. He was dragging me to the bathroom, to the tub. A sound, an explosion. The apartment door splintered. It didn't open. It was hit with a ram. The two men from the hall burst in. Damon saw them. He roared. He let go of me and grabbed the knife, using me as a shield. Get back, he screamed. Get back, or she's dead. And the kid, I'll kill them both. The men had their guns out, a stalemate. Drop it, one of them yelled. You drop it. Damon was erratic. He was high. He was obsessed. He slashed out, cutting the arm of the first man. The man grunted, but didn't fire. He couldn't get a clean shot. And then Vincent was there. He wasn't yelling. He wasn't running. He just appeared. He was at the end of the hall. He was a shadow of death. He didn't say a word. Damon saw him. He laughed. Too late, Moretti. She's mine. He raised the knife. A sound, a soft, wet thwip. Damon's arm, the one with the knife, just stopped. He looked at it. There was a small black hole in his shoulder. The knife clattered to the floor. Vincent's men were on him. They were not gentle. They were not arresting him. They were ending him. They were silent, brutal, and professional. The sound of fists on flesh, a rib cracking, a nose breaking. It was a terrible, quiet, efficient violence. Vincent didn't watch. He walked past them. He walked to me. I was on the floor, my head bleeding, my vision swimming. Carmen. He knelt, his hands, his strong, warm hands were checking me. His fingers were gentle on my face. He... I know, he said. His voice was a raw, aching thing. He looked at the broken, moaning pile that was Damon. He stood up. He pulled his gun, the one that had made the soft sound. He cocked it. The click was the loudest sound in the world. He walked over to Damon. He pointed the gun, not at his head, at his face. Vincent, no, my voice was a croak. He was going to do it. He was going to execute him in my living room. Dad, no, The closet door. It was open. Leo was standing there, his face streaked with tears, his small body shaking. Vincent froze. He looked at Leo, and he looked at the gun, and he looked at me, bloodied on the floor. "Please," I begged. "Not for him, for Leo. Don't let him see this. Don't be the monster. Vincent, please." His jaw was locked. He was at war, a terrible internal war. With a breath that sounded like a sob, he lowered the gun. Sirens, in the distance, getting closer. I looked at him, confused. "My call," Vincent said, his voice flat. "Anonymous tip, domestic disturbance, violent intruder, officers in distress." He turned to his men. "Clean." One of them nodded. He went to Damon, who was unconscious. He pulled out the knife. He carefully, clinically, pressed Damon's own fingerprints onto the handle. He dropped it next to him. He went to the window. Forced entry, clear. The other man came to me. "Ma'am, you're safe. You fought him off." They will arrest him," Vincent said. He was on his phone. "Sal, the restraining order, the one Judge Kelly signed this morning, it's on the precinct desk. Make sure they find it." 10 minutes ago. The police were at the door his men had just broken. They burst in, guns drawn. They saw the scene. Damon, a known felon, broken and bleeding, the knife, me, the victim, blood in my hair, Leo, the terrified child, in the closet, the broken door, the forced window. It was a perfect, clean picture. "He tried to kill us," I sobbed. And as the police, in a controlled, professional chaos, cuffed Damon, as the paramedics they called started to check my head, it all hit me. The fight, the fear, the end. It was over. I looked at Vincent. He was standing by the wall, watching. He was not the boss. He was not the lover. He was just the guard, the watcher. I pushed the paramedic's hand away. I stood up, my legs shaking. I walked to him, and I fell. I didn't faint, I just collapsed. My strength, the adrenaline, the fear that had held me up for 6 years. It was gone. He caught me. He didn't just catch me. His arms wrapped around me, pulling me against his chest, holding me up. I was sobbing. Great, gulping, ugly sobs. I was shaking so hard my teeth were chattering. He held me. His hand, his strong, steady hand, was on the back of my head, stroking my hair. He rested his chin on the top of my head, his eyes on the room, on the police, on his son. "He'll come back," I cried into his shirt. He'll always come back." He pulled me back, just enough to look at me. His hands were on my shoulders. His dark eyes were burning. "No," he said. His voice was a vow, a promise etched in stone. "No one will ever touch you again. I swear on everything I have." Damon was gone. The police, efficient and almost respectful, had taken him. The paramedics had patched the cut on my head. The adrenaline was gone, leaving a deep, aching cold in my bones. Vincent's promise still hung in the air. "No one will ever touch you again." But it wasn't over. We were in the living room of 3B. The splintered doorframe was a gaping wound. Leo was asleep, finally, on the futon, his small body curled tight. I was on the couch, wrapped in a blanket, and Vincent was on the phone. He hadn't stopped being on the phone. He wasn't the lover who had held me. He was the general. His voice was a low, cold series of commands. He was moving money, men, and materials. He was preparing for a war I couldn't understand. "Lock it down," and he said, his voice a low growl. "I want every asset he has, every—" What? He went still. His back, which had been turned to me, went rigid. "What do you mean, on fire?" he snarled. He listened. I watched the muscle in his jaw clench, unclench, clench. "How many?" he asked. He closed his eyes. "Send. Send the families to the safe harbor and call the contacts. This is not a drill." He hung up the phone, and he didn't slam it. He placed it, very, very gently, back in its cradle. "Vincent," I whispered. He retaliated, he said, his voice hollow. He sounded surprised, not by the act, but by the speed. While I was here, while I was distracted, Victor, he just bombed my primary warehouse on the south side, the one that handles everything. Was anyone hurt? He turned to me. His eyes were not black with rage. They were gray, the color of ash. 16 men, he said. Good men. Men who were not ready, because I was not ready, because I was busy playing house. The words hit me like a slap. I am not playing. I know. He scrubbed his face with his hands. I know, this isn't your fault. It's mine. I let him get close. He gestured to the broken door, to Damon. I let a personal vendetta expose my entire family. So what now? Now, he said, his eyes hardening. The war he wanted. He gets, but not you, not Leo. He made one more call. Sal, bring the car, the mountain package. We're moving. Now. We didn't pack. We didn't have time. Sal and 2 other men I'd never seen were at the door in 5 minutes. Go, Vincent said, pulling me to my feet. Go with Sal. What? No, I'm not leaving you. You are not staying. He grabbed my shoulders, his grip gentle but unbreakable. Carmen, look at me. This is not Hollis Point anymore. This isn't about one man. This is about everything. He just drew a line in blood. I have to finish it, and I cannot do that. If I am worried that you and Leo are here, a mile from where he is, I need you safe. Safe, I repeated. The word tasted like poison. I was safe in this apartment, and Damon walked right in. He will not walk into this place. His eyes were raw, pleading. I swear, please, Carmen, for me. Let me do this. Let me end this. Go with Sal. Take Leo. I will. I will come when it's done. I looked into his eyes. He wasn't the boss. He was a man, terrified of losing the only thing he had. Okay, I whispered. Okay. He didn't kiss me. He just pressed his forehead to mine for one agonizing second. Be safe. Then he was gone. Sal put us in the back of an armored black SUV. We drove for hours, out of Hollis Point, off the highway, up into the winding, dark roads of the mountains. The moon was a sliver of ice. We arrived at a house that was not a house. It was a fortress made of glass and dark wood, perched on the edge of a cliff. It was beautiful, and it was the most terrifying place I had ever been. You'll be safe here, Mrs. Diaz, Sal said, his voice polite. There are 5 men. They are the best. No one gets up this road. The cabin was sterile. It had a huge fireplace, a kitchen with stainless steel appliances, and beds with high thread count sheets. It was a beautiful luxury cage. The first week was a blur of silence. Leo was quiet. He missed Vincent. He missed the idea of Vincent. I missed his touch, his solidity. I struggled. The isolation was a different kind of terror. I had spent 6 years running from one monster, only to be protected by another. And now I was in a glass box, waiting to see which one would win. I didn't want safety. I wanted him. I wanted the man who had looked at me with those ash-gray eyes and admitted his fear. I would stand at the vast floor-to-ceiling windows, looking down at the valley, a carpet of dark pines. I was safe. I was also utterly, completely alone. The 5 men were invisible. They were shadows in the trees. They were ghosts who left groceries on the porch. 2 weeks passed. I was unraveling. I was pacing the floor, the polished wood cold under my feet. It was late, 2 in the morning. A storm was raging outside, the wind howling against the glass, the rain lashing down. Leo was asleep. I was looking at the fire, at the dying embers, and I heard a noise. A car, an engine, straining up the hill. I froze. The guards, I ran to the door, my heart in my throat. I looked through the peephole. He was there. He was not a general. He was a refugee. He was drenched, his black coat plastered to his body. His hair was matted with rain. He was leaning against the doorframe, as if he didn't have the strength to knock. I fumbled with the locks, my hands shaking. I tore the door open. He just looked at me. He was exhausted. He was thin. He had a cut over his left eye, stitched with black thread. He was bruised. "Vincent," I breathed. He didn't say anything. He just stumbled in, out of the rain, and collapsed against me. He was not a king, and he was just a man, and he was so heavy. I staggered, but I held him, his arms wrapped around my waist, his face burying in my neck. He was holding on to me like I was the last solid thing on earth. He was shaking, or maybe I was. You're alive," I sobbed, my fingers digging into his back. I had to," he whispered, his voice rough. I had to see you. I couldn't breathe. You're hurt." "It's nothing." I led him to the fire. I sat him down on the rug. I didn't ask about the war. I didn't ask about Victor. I went to the bathroom, and I got the first aid kit. I came back. I knelt in front of him. I gently, my fingers trembling, peeled his wet coat off his shoulders. His shirt underneath was also soaked, and it was stained, dark. "Vincent," I whispered, my blood running cold. You're bleeding." It's not mine," he said, his voice thick. I looked at him. He was a man who lived in a world of blood and shadows. Let me help you," I said. I unbuttoned his shirt. His chest was a map of his life. Old scars, white and puckered, and new bruises, ugly darks and purple. He sat there, his eyes closed, his head hung, while I gently cleaned the cut over his eye. "I missed you," I whispered. He opened his eyes, looked at me. His gaze was so raw, so full of a desperate, aching need that it took my breath away. He didn't kiss me. He just reached out, his hand shaking, and he touched my face. His fingers were rough, calloused, but his touch was so gentle. "I'm sorry, Carmen," he whispered. "I'm sorry I brought this hell into your life, into his life." "Shh." I leaned my cheek into his palm. "You're here." I finished cleaning the cut. I looked at the bruises on his chest. I couldn't help it. My fingers traced the line of an old scar, one that ran from his collarbone down his side. "Who?" I started. "My father," he said, his voice flat. "He was not a gentle man." I understood. In that moment, everything. The man who punched walls, the man who vowed to protect. He was just a boy who had been hurt, who had sworn he would never, ever be that weak again. I leaned forward. I kissed the scar. I kissed the bruise next to it. I felt his breath hitch, a sharp, sudden gasp. His hands, his big, rough hands, came up. They didn't grab me. They framed my face. "Carmen," he breathed. He kissed me. It was not the kiss in the car, full of hunger and confusion. It was not the kiss in the rain, full of desperation and relief. This was a kiss that was a prayer. It was slow. It was tender. It was full of tears and rain and the taste of blood and exhaustion. It was a promise. He pulled back, his forehead resting against mine. "I'm so tired," he whispered. "I know." His hands slid from my face, down my neck, over my shoulders, down my arms. He was memorizing me. His touch was a whisper. His hands moved, down my back, to my waist. And then, his hand, his warm, strong hand, settled on my belly, just rested there, over my shirt, a simple, possessive, grounding touch. I didn't flinch. I didn't move. I let him. "I never wanted a knight," I whispered, my tears falling onto his hand. "I never wanted a prince or a king. I just wanted someone who wouldn't run, someone who wouldn't leave." He looked up. His dark eyes were swimming. "I'm still here," he said. And he held me, on the floor, in front of the dying fire, while the storm raged outside. "Mommy?" We both froze. Leo was standing in the hallway, his small body illuminated by the firelight. He was clutching his pillow. "He here," Leo said, his voice sleepy. Vincent, his mask of the boss gone, looked afraid of this small boy. He slowly, gently let go of me. He stayed on the floor, on his knees, so he was small, so he wasn't a threat. "Hey, kid," Vincent said, his voice rough. Leo ran. Oh, he didn't run to me. Oh, he ran to Vincent. He launched himself into Vincent's arms, his small legs wrapping around his waist, his face burying in his neck. "You came back," Leo mumbled. "You came back." Vincent's arms, his strong, scarred arms, wrapped around my son. He held him. He just held him. And I watched as Vincent Moretti, the Iceman, the Mafia boss, buried his face in my son's hair and cried. "I'll always come back," he vowed, his voice breaking. Later that night, the storm was still going. Leo was in his bed. He was still wired. He was afraid to close his eyes. I keep seeing him," Leo whispered, his body trembling. "The man, the bad man." I was sitting on the edge of his bed, rubbing his back. "It's okay, mijo. He's gone. He can't ever hurt you again." "But what if he hurts him?" Leo said, his eyes on the doorway. Vincent was standing there. He was watching. "What if the other men hurt my dad?" My heart stopped. Vincent moved. He walked into the room. He didn't sit on the bed. He knelt. He knelt on the floor, next to Leo's bed. So they were eye to eye. "No one," Vincent said, his voice a low, steady promise, "is gonna hurt me, and no one," and he said, his eyes flicking to me, "is ever going to hurt your mom again. I promise, son." He had called him son. Leo's eyes were wide. He believed him. He let out a long, shuddering breath. His eyes, which had been wide with terror, finally started to close. "Good night, Dad," he mumbled. And he was asleep. Vincent stayed there on his knees for a long time, just watching him. The war lasted 3 more weeks. Vincent left before the sun came up. He left the man, and he came back as the king. But this time it was different. I wasn't just in a cage. I was waiting. He called. Every night, a new, secure phone he had left. "Are you safe?" he would ask. "Yes. Are you?" "Almost," he would say. He was dismantling Victor's empire. He was not doing it with bombs. He was doing it with a scalpel. He was cutting off his money. He was turning his men. He was, as he'd promised, turning his world to dust. "I'm a monster, Carmen," he said, his voice raw, late one night on the phone. "The things I'm doing." "You are a man," I said, "who is protecting his family. Come home." Soon. And then, one day, Sal, who had been my polite, silent warden, knocked on the door. "It's over, Mrs. Diaz," he said, his face. He was almost smiling. "The boss. He won." "Won? Is he okay?" "Victor is gone. He's on a plane, one way, to a place he will not enjoy. The boss. He let him live." He let him live. He had spared him. He had proven, to me, to himself, that he was not his father. He was not Damon. "He's coming," Sal said. "He's on his way." I waited. I waited on the porch. I watched the long, winding road. His car, not the sleek sedan, but an old, battered Jeep. It pulled up. He got out. He was not the king. He was not the general. He was just Vincent. He was in jeans and a torn t-shirt. He was covered in dirt and grease, and he was bleeding. A fresh cut on his arm. He was limping. But he was alive. He stopped at the bottom of the porch steps. He looked up at me. He didn't move. He just stood there, bloodied and battered and humbled. Leo came out. He stood next to me. Vincent looked at me. He looked at Leo. "Is it over?" I whispered. "It's over," he said, his voice hoarse. He looked at the door to the safe house. He looked back at us. "Can I stay?" he asked. He wasn't asking to stay the night. He was asking for forever. I didn't answer him. I looked at my son. I looked at this broken, beautiful, terrifying man. I smiled. I walked to the door. I grabbed the handle, and I opened it, as wide as it would go. I stood aside, and I just waited. He climbed the steps, his limp heavy. He didn't look at me. He looked at the open door. He looked at the home inside. He walked past me. He crossed the threshold. He was inside. He was home. The scene, the final scene, it wasn't there. It wasn't in the cabin. It was 6 months later. The air smelled like charcoal and cut grass. It was a backyard, a real backyard, with a chain-link fence, in a suburb I didn't recognize. It was ours. I was at a patio table, a red checkered tablecloth. I was laughing, a real, deep belly laugh. "Mom, he's cheating." I looked. Leo. He was not the small, terrified boy. He was just a boy. He was running, his legs pumping, his hair wild. And he was being chased by a small, wiggling, barking, a puppy, a little golden, maybe a puppy. "He's gonna get me," Leo shrieked with laughter. Vincent was at the grill. He was wearing a stupid white apron. It said, "Kiss the cook." He was smiling, a real smile. It lit up his whole face. It erased the scars. He looked at me. Then he came over. He put his warm, steady hand on my waist. He kissed my temple. "Happy," he whispered. "It's just so normal," I cried, laughing. "It's everything," where he said, Dad, I got him," Leo yelled. He had tackled the puppy. He ran over to us, the puppy licking his face. He was covered in grass stains. He didn't hug me. He hugged Vincent. He wrapped his arms around his legs, his face pressed into the silly apron. "Told you," Leo mumbled, his voice full of 9-year-old triumph. "Told you you're my dad." I watched Vincent. He froze. His hand on my waist tightened. He looked down. He reached down and he ruffled Leo's hair. His eyes, when they met mine, were soft. "Yeah, kid," he said, his voice thick. "You were right. Thank you so much for listening to this story. I hope you enjoyed the journey with Carmen, Leo, and Vincent. Where are you listening from? I love hearing from our audience all over the world, so please drop a comment and let us know. If you love this story, please subscribe to Mafia Romance Stories for more just like it. And finally, what did you think? Share your thoughts in English.